I'm Peggy Anne Salz. This is Pocket Gamer Connects London. It is the event to kick off the year with some great vibes, great people, which is a great segue to you, Michal, because, Michal, you are in the industry now at Pixel Federation. 11 years. That itself is a story. So why don't we start with you for a change rather than we'll get to the company, but I want to get to you and your backstory. I mean, first of all, being there for so long, that in itself is an achievement. Tell me a little bit about what keeps you there.
Yeah, what keeps me there? I think ultimately it comes down to people. So working with the best people in the industry in Slovakia or that particular region, and also doing what we love and I love, right? So I was always into the data, mathematics, studied it, wanted to do banking, didn't end up in banking, as you know already. And actually by accident ended up in gaming and didn't know that gaming on mobile even existed, right? Like outside of Angry Birds, for example, and other titles. I didn't know that there was a gaming company in Slovakia. So I ended up by accident, and I stayed there for 10 years, and it will be my 11th in May, yes, this year. So it's a long time, you know. I would say it feels like a family to me now. I like the analogy. Maybe it's not the case in our company always, but I like to work in a sports team, right? So we do all our best. But 10 years and not. Yeah, I think I'm quite happy about the career I chose. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, it is. It's like living the dream. I've known you for a long time as well. So many panels, so many different opportunities to chat with you. But I wanted to hear, as I said, your backstory. And I have to say, yes, your team, they rock, really. I haven't met anyone on your team who I can't really get along with and have some fun with. So it's fun. It's games. It's also the math. I mean, you must feel like all of that education that you had, banking, finance, it's really, really coming out. I mean, it may be, in fact, your superpower. Who knows?
It's considered a superpower, obviously. But I mean, it comes down to two things. Ultimately, in marketing, especially, and in growing games, it's all about at the end, it's about money, right? So money in, money out. And I think the company grew not only because of great products, but also being sophisticated about measuring things and evaluating and scaling on the channels and places where it makes sense, right? So we knew what makes money and where we lose, and then it comes down to making those good decisions about it, right? So that's one thing, and but I understand also you mentioned superpower, right? But it's also kind of it can be a limiting factor when you're not taking chances and you're not being bold enough in making a huge bets. If you're in a casino, right? You have to sometimes put the money on a table and make a calculated risk evaluation and go for the thing that makes most amount of sense. So, for example, in my team, I know about my powers, but I know what I'm lacking, right? So I try to build also the team with the people, have people in the team that are adding towards these kind of things, right? So it would make sense.
You talk about bets. What is the biggest bet you ever took and actually came out on top? Maybe to your own satisfaction or actually to your own relief, because taking a bet is risky, but sometimes it pays. You've done it for so long. What's one thing you did you said, yep, that paid off?
And career-wise, I would say two things. So when I moved from analytics to marketing and tried to be more hands-on with the business, so that's one of the best bets I made. So I could have stayed only doing analytics, but I would never had a feeling of the ownership of executing the actual insights and changes that I want. So that's one thing in terms of the career. Second in career would be, I'm an introvert, deep down, right? So this for me, 10 years ago, I would be standing in a corner and not talking to anyone. So the second biggest bet was trying to persuade myself that in order to grow and to learn from people, I have to be with people and talk to them, right? And give them something in return as well. So that was the second biggest bet. And on a personal level, that I started dating my wife. Well, now she's my wife, yeah. But yeah, so that was like that's the ultimate like life goal, life achievement, I think. So not only talking about the business, right?
Yes, there's more to life than business. That's why we're doing this, because yes, we can go into that and we will talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
But I think it's also so important because everyone's had to adapt. I mean, this year feels positive. I've been here some years it was doom and gloom. I mean, like the last 2 years was like, we're all going to die. There are no new games. There are no new gaming companies. I was talking to a couple startups that, went up in revenue because they focused on a niche rather than trying to own the world, right? So, I mean, it comes down to your goals and your goal setting. How do you keep, your team focused and motivated on the details, but still celebrate the small successes because they add up, they matter?
Well, it also like you mentioned, there are many companies that grew even when everything was supposed to be dead already, right? So yeah, I had a nice talk with one guy from Czech Republic. He has like a small studio, and they scaled tremendously. I mean, like a really small team. The game has amazing metrics. They're ROI positive, like really in a short period of time. So that actually proves that there are still opportunities. And for example, for this particular case, I take inspiration from because we are a big company, so the processes take like as usual. The bigger you go, the bigger you get, the slower you become. That nice analogy. But I mean, especially in gaming, yeah. Now it shows me that it's not always about the big players. You have to be the biggest to dominate and to earn revenue. You can be a really small team and be highly profitable, right? So that's like one of the good inspirations. And according for the team itself, I'd say it's like a combination of like appreciation, personal growth of the people, so they know they are learning more and they are like also climbing the corporate ladder in a way, and also financial motivation. To me, like we are okay, maybe not everyone, but people are doing this also for the money. They have to like feed the family, earn money, but they have to live somewhere, right? So we like rewarding people that are making the best efforts and doing some extra miles. That's so far for the 1 year in this current position that I have, I think that yielded some really nice results and growth of the people, because they knew they are appreciated when they do extra and when they care about what they do. It's not like, okay, I go to the work and come back home, right? And nothing. They think about it. It's part of their identity now, right? Being a marketer, for example.
That's very true. It makes me think of the conversation. It was at another conference. It was Akin, actually, from Triple Dot, talking about leadership qualities and, what it takes. And it's all about motivation, really, because people are doing a lot and they go above and beyond and look into the data or see different patterns or really, really work, because it's all about being curious, staying curious. I hear that all the time. How do you stay curious? Or is it just in your DNA?
It's part of DNA, obviously, right? Like you have to be curious. You have to get deep into the data, into the like players, how they play. But I mean, it's essential. Like otherwise, if you're not curious, like how are you going to learn? Like it's not gonna stick, and you're not gonna do anything about it. Like if it's like, I come to work, I do some campaigns, and yeah, that's it. If you're not curious, then everybody will surpass you, right? With the team, within the team, especially, and within the industry even more. Like you're not curious, you're not innovating, you're not doing something differently, you're gonna see it on your financial results. So yeah, it has to be. If it's not in a part of your DNA, then you have to learn to be curious, or at least to do something about it, right?
It's about the excitement of the industry, staying curious, and also the excitement of what's ahead. As I said, it's more positive feeling this year. What are you excited about out there? It's like web to app is really good for getting some data, right? Because we have to think about where to get it from. Yeah. It's not the way it was before. What are you excited about? What do you see out there? probably not a D2C play for Pixel Federation, but you never know.
For the company, what I'm excited about is like launching new products. That's one thing. We haven't launched a new product, I would say, successfully. It was like we launched like 3 products in the last couple of years that weren't a huge success, right? They were like, okay, we killed a couple of those, we kept a couple of others, but they are not like bumping up the company on a significant level. So that's why I'm looking forward to most. So launching a new train game, and also we have other projects in pipeline for this year as well. Maybe one. Just so that's one thing. And in terms of the industry, well, it's not. Yesterday was a good talk from Eric Seufert about like what the networks are doing as well, and yeah, there's not that much talk about the privacy anymore, right? Like fingerprinting was a big no for a couple of years, and now I don't say everybody's doing that, but it became a standard. And if you're not with the major ad networks that utilize also like probabilistic attribution, then you're not growing, right? So it looks like with all the changes in the world now, it looks like we are, I don't say back on track on the pre-IDFA era, but it's significantly better now with all the modeling and all the things that the networks did to bring better quality users to advertisers, right? Or to developers.
What about the monetization models? I'm hearing a lot more about subscription, because people are saying nobody owns anything and we're all used to paying, at least maybe Gen X, Gen Z, that's okay. What about the models, the mix over at Pixel Federation? Are you trying to mix it up a little bit, thinking about maybe even possibly taking it to alternative stores? Because that's another big topic at the show as well.
Yeah, well, distribution is one thing, right? So you basically 2 topics. So distribution, alternative stores is something that's growing. We are utilizing that. Web stores and web experience is something that we already started last year. So we launched Train Station 2 on web. I would say it surpassed our expectations in terms of the I would say scalability, but profitability in terms like we can acquire and attract really good users, right, on the web. But the game has to be feasible for web. It has to have a good web experience. It's not like every game can be on the web, right? So having that in mind, so the different distribution and adding new channels, also maybe going to new geos that you weren't present before with alternative payments, that's one thing. And in terms of the monetization, I don't know about subscriptions, to be honest. We haven't had like good success with that in the past. I don't know about this year if we want to test it out, but what we are focusing on now and what we are doing for a couple of years already is hybridization, like hyper casuals going to the in-app purchases and vice versa, like the mid-core and hardcore games adding ads. So we are in a mixed business, so we have both revenue streams, but the level of sophistication, what we need to tackle is like segmenting the users right away, right? So for non-paying users that are never gonna pay, like ramp up the ads that you show to players, and vice versa. Like if you have like let's say a whale or high-paying user, you don't want to bother them too much with ads, right? They got used to it, but like if it's a user of a CPI $50, like you don't recoup that with ad money, right? You need those in-app purchases and bigger payments at the end. So yeah, you have to be more sophisticated when you are in a bigger level. But I see growth, like ultimately in the industry, from really small developers, indie studios that crack the UA and crack the product. So they are successful even in this era, which I wouldn't predict that 2 years ago. I would say consolidation, big players, not a chance for small developers. It's not the case anymore. Yes, at least I hope I have some data points to prove that, but it's not universal truth, right?
So great chatting with you, Michal. We'll do it more often. We see each other everywhere anyway, right? I mean, we're always at the same shows.
So next month, right?
Yeah, next month, exactly. I think it is. I think probably even a panel, maybe another unfiltered, who knows. But when we meet again, let's say it's a year. It won't be, but it'll be when we meet here next year again. What do you want to be telling me about your year, your contribution, your accomplishment?
Well, I hope we successfully launched two new products, and the company will be on the growth again after a year of consolidation that we did last year successfully, but it was a consolidating year, so it wasn't nice for everyone, as you can imagine.
And since you're a guy who likes risks and you love data, the risk that you might take and be able to tell me about some sort of, I wouldn't say a hack, but one of your typical moves in your own way.
Yeah, it might sound boring, but yeah, I'm going to Sri Lanka, it's a nice country, I guess, but I've never been in that part of the world, right? So it's not a risk anymore. It's not a risk at all. It's just yeah, it's gonna be mind expanding. Yeah. That is true.
Stay curious, stay relevant as you do. It'll be mind expanding, and I'm sure it will bring a lot to you. Michal, I'm so glad we had a chance to just chat, talk about your world, and and give some inspiration to all the indies out there. You met some great indies. ROI positive is a big deal, and it's a big deal to always chat with you. Thanks so much. This show is all about how to do your job better, how to make an amazing game, how to market it, and you have a say. So if you have a story or know someone we need to shine a light on, then we would love to hear from you.
We want to hear from you. We want to reflect the reality of the mobile games market in all its wonderful complexity and strangeness. So if you have any suggestions for us, if you have any feedback for us, you can always get in touch. You can email us at podcast@pocketgamer.biz. You can find us on Twitter @PGBiz, and you can reach out to us through the pocketgamer.biz website. If you're interested in listening to all of our podcasts, you can find them at pocketgamer.biz/podcast, and we would love to hear your thoughts on future shows.
And we've got you covered on all the major platforms, so subscribe to the audio podcast, as Brian said. Look for us on YouTube. If you want to read it, hey, you can do that too, because we have a companion post for you as well on the pocketgamer.biz website.
Tune in again for the next edition of the pocketgamer.biz podcast, and we look forward to speaking to you in the near future. Until then, I'm Brian Baglow.
I'm Peggy Anne Salz, and that's a wrap until next week.